Welcome everybody to our Club Runner Conference 2020. I hope you're enjoying it so far, and we hope you'll continue to enjoy what we have to offer for you. So my name is Divya, and I'll be giving this session today about best practices on website design with Nikki, and joining us is Michael as well, who will be on Q&A. So let's get started. One of the very first things we have to understand though about our website is, when we even think about website design, is our audience, our visitors. And what we have to understand today is that there's been a huge shift in the way people consume data online. Essentially, a lot of our audience members, if not everybody, is in the habit of micro-consumption. And what do I mean by micro-consumption? I mean that we're used to receiving data and reading data on websites. It has to be in chewable, bite-sized pieces. And then it also has to be very easy to get to. And it has to be something that we can easily navigate and understand. So it has to be there when we want that data. And that's really what we have to understand. Another factor with websites is that we have to think about is we have a common rule with websites is you have about 5 seconds to capture the interest of your website visitors. And if within those 5 seconds, you really aren't able to engage them or capture them or give them a reason to stay on your website, the risk of losing them increases. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is what are some of the best practices we can apply so that we can actually cater to the people that we want our website designed for. And we're going to also then jump into a tour of our live designer, where we'll showcase some of the features that we offer within that live designer that can help amplify the visual aesthetic of your website. And of course, as we're doing all of that, we'll show some tips and tricks that we find really useful when we're designing websites on Club Runner. But I want to pause here and I want to mention that if there are any tips or tricks that you use that makes your job easier when you're designing a website on Club Runner, please do share that in chat. I think it'd be really cool for us to all learn from each other. And what we can do is we'll take all the advice that you have to share with the other attendees in this session, and we'll package that up and then share that on our community site. And of course, when we do jump into the live designer tour, we'll also showcase how we apply some best practices that we talk about on that actual design, followed by a Q&A session. So what actually makes for a really good website design? And to answer that, we have to actually start from the very beginning. And what I notice is when I speak to a lot of our customers, or when I go at all of our conferences that we go to, or just in terms of any general conversation that I tend to have, this particular first step of going all the way back is often overlooked. It's overlooked because we think, well, why is it so important? We know who we want to cater to the website, we know who we want to cater our website to. But is it clear? If today someone was to ask you, hey, can you tell me who your website is catered towards? Is it really catered towards your members? Is it really catered towards your non-members? Or is it catered to community partners that you want to partner with or have them sponsor your site? Invariably, we want to be able to have our website cater to a mix of all of these components. But by identifying the who, we're really able to now define those verticals, and that's our first step. What is our goal with our website? So let's first define those verticals. I want my website to be more prospective member heavy opposed to member heavy. Or I want my website to be a mix of both, a good breed of both. And once we're able to identify that, now we're really able to start to think about, okay, well, if I know who I want to focus on, how will I do that? What type of content will I be able to share? Because the reality is the content that you want to share with your members is going to be very, very different than the content you want to share with non-members. And so we have to decide, well, we know both of these groups of people will relate to different pieces of content, so naturally they won't live on the same place on our website. So where will they live on our website? And how will I actually share it with them? Am I going to share content in the form of text? Or am I going to share it in the form of a video? Or am I going to share it in the form of photo albums? Or will it be a mix of all three? And we want to think about all of those components and then think about, when do we want to share that data? Is it timely? Is it old information that's not relatable anymore? So why do we even have that as something that people will land on today? Is it current? Or is it something that I want to showcase, but not for a little while? So that's where we really start to think about our content calendar in a sense of when to post relatable content. And of course, the most important idea is, what are we going to post? So now that we've identified our verticals of, hey, who do we want to cater to? Now we can really think about what are the different types of articles we want to post. If I were to pause here for a second and ask you, who is your website catering to today? Based on all the content that you have on your website today, take a look and take a moment to think about it. Who are you catering to today? You can post in chat as well and give a good idea, share links to your websites as well. I think that would be really helpful to everybody. And let's answer that who, what, when, where in chat. But now imagine that now we are able to identify these verticals, and we are able to very easily answer this who, what, when, where. This is what will allow us to now map out our user journey. And when I say user journey, I have to actually step back and say, we have to think of our website as the gateway to our home. So your website is basically like a home. It is the entry point where somebody will land, and you will basically be pointing them to where they need to go to find the information they need. So when we think about it from a top-down approach, somebody lands on your website, the very first thing they see is a menu. Then they followed by whatever's underneath that menu, followed by the remaining set of content that you do have. And so we have to think about that user journey. How do we want it mapped out? You're essentially drawing a trail for them to say, hey, members, if you land on our website, do we have a clear indication to say this is what you need to click on? Because this is where all our member resources are located. Is there an item on your menu, for example, to say member resources, and then a drop down to show what they can access? It could be password protected, but is there a clear indication? Even if it's just in the form of a widget, if someone starts to scroll down on your website, do you have some sort of widget to say, members, this is where you need to click, our member portal is here. And then the same concept applies to prospective members, of course. What is that user journey that we really want for that prospective member? We want them to land on our website. We want them to learn about who we are. We want to maybe invite them to the next Zoom meeting that we have, or a virtual event that we're showcasing. But we want to basically capture their interest and have them connect with us. So how does that user journey look on your website? Is there a clear indication when they land on that website that this is where you need to click through on to learn more about us? And that's how really the content and the call to actions come into play as well. Because now when you're able to map out that user journey, you're able to really think about the content and where it should really be placed. And this is where you can now start thinking strategically. If our homepage, of course, does not need to have all the content out of the bat. When someone lands on your homepage, they don't need to see every single thing that they should be, all the information that they should be retrieving. That should really live on secondary pages, but now this is really where you start to strategize that all this content will live here, will live there, and the call to actions, what they will look like. And what do I mean by call to actions? Call to actions can be a very small act, or it can be very large. When I usually talk about call to actions, and if I were to ever ask somebody what they think about a call to action, the answer I always receive is, yeah, we have a button that asks them to donate. We have a button that's a sign up for a newsletter. We have something inviting them to register for an event. But a call to action can be even smaller than that. It can just be a button to say, hey, this was a teaser we have some stories on our website. We are showcasing the brief, which is a teaser. We want you to click read more and read the rest of the article. That could be a great example of a small call to action. So that's what we really have to think about. We want them to interact with the website. So the call to actions don't necessarily have to be big. It could just be a small act, a small physical act that you want that visitor to perform, to remain on your site, to just interact with it. And then the very last principle, we're going to get into this one a little bit more later in a couple of slides, is branding. When we think about what makes a good website, something that a lot of people just leave as an afterthought is branding. It's considered something that's not really important. It's something that people sometimes just associate with having a logo, and that's about it. But we really have to dive deeper into branding, and we'll get into that as well. But overall, what makes a good website is when you start from the very beginning. And first of all, we have to identify the who, what, when, where, and then be able to start from there to map everything out. And when we actually start from there, that's when we're able to go down and now start to look into the building blocks that will actually make a good website. And where do we get from there? What do I mean by building blocks? So by building blocks, I mean overall visual of your website. When we speak about building blocks, we're talking about a visual aesthetic of your website. And visuals, of course, they don't necessarily have to do with imagery alone. It's about an overall look. So think about the last website you went on where you were able to go and just go, wow, this website is amazing. I really like what they've done. And you just started to scroll down, down, down and started to interact with that website. There was something about that website that unconsciously it invoked some sort of emotional response in you. And websites have the power to do that. We often don't even think of websites that they can be that powerful, really. Websites really have the power to elicit an emotional response in our users. And so that's where we have to think about it from a visual perspective, where we say, if on our website, when somebody lands on our homepage, and if it's not visually appealing, if there's just too much content, and there's content here, there's just paragraphs upon paragraphs of text, and just thumbnails here, thumbnails there, lots of colors that are being used. And if the overall design is inconsistent, but by inconsistency, I might have some text that, typed in capital letters here, and then lowercase here. My titles of all my widgets some could be all capital, some can be all lowercase, but all those levels of inconsistencies and all those tiny small factors, they all make up that visual aesthetic. So if I were to see all of that as a user, I might just get really overwhelmed because I'm being forced to think. I'm being forced to think when I land on your website going, oh wow, they have so much content. I'm starting to forget why I landed here. I have to try and now read the content, all of it at one go, and then try to recognize, was this what I was really looking for? Whereas if we switch the way we think and say, okay, you know what? Let's put all of our content in digestible pieces. Let's just put teasers here and have them go to a secondary page to actually digest this information. Right off the bat, when I see that there's not a lot for me to digest on the homepage, and I can actually scan really quickly and find what I'm looking for, that's something that's really visually appealing. That's a positive response. So that's what we want to think about, of how do we keep them engaged. Engagement is all about how do we keep a user on the website, and how do we do that is to really allow them to just scan and find information, not to overwhelm them off the bat, but to make it a pleasant experience. So by pleasant experience, we have to think about, is our website really easy to navigate? If our menu has 3 rows opposed to just one traditional row of items, are we really doing something good for that user? Are we really making it easy for them, or are we making it more difficult by having them go through every single menu item to find what they want? So there are lots of ways to share the information. It's just a matter of how do we package it up to make it visually aesthetic. And then when we think about the aesthetics, we think about white space. This is a very, very big portion of website design. If you speak with any designer, they'll always speak about, hey, it's a good idea to have white space. And what do we mean by white space? Is when you land on a website, typically you will see some content, and then you will see an area of white space here, an area of clean white space in the column here. And the idea is that's what is allowing for a balanced look. If you were to add content in every single area that's available to add content on, again, that's overwhelming the user. There's just too much out of the gate to look at, and it won't offer anything to keep a balanced website. So you want to think about that fact. When we add content here, does it look balanced from an overall perspective? If I were to step back and say, typically people are they're reading from right to left or left to right. Will they be able to just look at all this information, scan everything, and everything looks balanced enough that even if they were to scroll, they're not missing the important information? So that's where we have to really think about the visual aesthetic from an overall. And then we think about a visual aesthetic from the imagery point of view. Are we even using images on our website? Images, they say pictures tell 1,000 words. And a lot of times we do use pictures, but we don't use pictures of the right size. So a lot of times we'll have thumbnails that we have on our stories, and that's about it. But it's a really good idea to think about adding photos. And when we add photos, are we adding stock photos, or are we actually adding real photos of our members? And that's a very big difference, because when you add real photos of your members, what you're telling people are, imagine if I was a prospective member and I land on your website and I see photos of all of your members and I see everybody's having fun, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I really want to be friends with the members of this club. I want to join this club. I can relate. Whereas if I see stock photos, it seems so generic to me. It seems so general. I might just go, you know what, that's cool, but is there another neighboring Rotary Club that I can also check out? So that's something we have to keep in mind too. we want to make everything exciting. We want to make everything engaging, but we also have to sort of sell our club to our prospective members if that's who we're catering our site to. And we have to think about how we can really do that in an efficient way. So let's say we've talked about how do we identify our verticals. Once we identify our verticals, once we identify what is the type of content we're going to be sharing, how are we going to be sharing it? And we've really identified or mapped out what type of design we want to go with for our website. Then naturally, the next thing that comes to mind is, we're going to work so hard on this. How do we make sure that it stays ranked high on Google or Yahoo or Bing or whichever search engines that people use? And the important thing to keep in mind from the very get-go is, regardless of who is coming on your website, it could be your member, it could be a prospective member, it could be somebody interested in a fundraiser, it could be somebody that's just interested in Rotary and wants to learn more. They come on your website with an intent, and that intention is to find information. But when they land on your website, there's always a time frame attached to that intent, and that is to receive that information right away. So you have to make sure that with your content, you are able to offer them that piece of information and make it really easy to find, or risk losing them. And this is one of the things that search engines like Google really looks into. They look at the fact that, hey, somebody does a keyword search and they land on your website, and maybe they stay for about 20 seconds and then they leave. But you have a lot of traffic coming in, but you have just equally that high volume of traffic leaving and going to another website. That tells Google that you might have content that really relates to the search, but it's not relevant enough to engage a user. And then what they will do is they will then take another website that might not have content that matches the keywords to a T, but people might remain on that website longer, and they'll just start to rank that website higher. So you're competing with a lot of content online. And so you have to be able to make sure that anything you add, this is why it's so important to understand who we're catering to, because then we're able to use the specific language that we know they use themselves. Imagine prospective members. You know, when somebody's landing on your website, a typical keyword search they might do is pricing for membership. And that's when we have to think about, do we even have the word pricing anywhere on our website? Do we mention fees or dues or how much it is? And if not, this is where you want to think about adding information like that on your homepage. It could be on I apologize for that. It could be on a, okay. So it could typically be, as I was saying, the search. Your keywords, it could be on the headline. You know, you have a join page where you're saying, members, you want to learn more about us. This is where you come to learn more about us. And as you start to scroll down, there could be a little paragraph that says, with a headline that says membership dues. And then you can have text to actually include the word pricing, to include the word dues, and to include a lot of other related terms related to pricing. So it's important to think about that. You have to think about, let's not just match our keywords to what they search for, but let's add other keywords related to that in the content. And let's repeat it several times. And when we do that, that's what helps Google. When they crawl and index, they'll find your web page and show that instead of another page, because you're showing the relatable content. And this is where we really want to think about tracking Google, tracking analytics through Google. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but we actually do have a plugin that we offer with Google Analytics, and where you can just simply add your key into the website settings. And when you do that, you can see the pattern on Google Analytics. It allows you to see which web pages are performing really high and well versus which web pages are not doing so well. But you're also able to tell the keywords that people are using to land on your website. And that's when you can really say, wow, members are really searching for how to log in. So maybe we need to run a campaign to say, members, it seems like this is how you log in. Or maybe we'll create a video to show that instead. But it'll really give you insight into what you need to do to match those keyword searches. And then regularly updating your website. I cannot stress this one enough. They say content is king, of course it is, but currency is queen. And you have to be able to update your website regularly, because that is what tells Google that, wow, this Rotary Club has a lot of content to offer. And they're a very lively club. If you're just updating your website once every 6 months, once every 8 months, or not very often at all, we're telling Google will crawl your website, they'll crawl it multiple times, but then they might say, you know, there've been no changes on this website for a couple of months. It's rather inactive. Let's try to rank another website higher than this one. So you want to regularly update your content to show that you offer fresh content. And then the level of engagement on pages. This is actually one of the tricks that I have that I really love to share is, do you have pieces of content on your website that somebody can interact with? And what I mean by that is when somebody's on your website, will there actually be a video that they can click on or a picture that they can click on? Because the more click-throughs you have on a specific page, the more you tell them, the more you're telling Google that there's a lot of activity, and again, that will rank your website higher. And the last two items that actually make up for rankings is a secure site and mobile friendliness. And we take care of both of this for you. All Club Runner websites are secure and they're all mobile compatible. So you never have to worry about this, but these two play a huge factor in actually making your website rank higher. And the very last item that I really want to get into from this perspective of what makes for a good website design is about that branding. I mentioned that branding is often an afterthought, and it's usually just considered to be just a logo, but branding is so much more than that. And as a Rotary Club, you actually are branding from two avenues. Your branding is to showcase that you're part of a larger organization, which is Rotary International. And your branding is also to showcase the personality behind your club. So you have to make sure that if somebody was to land on your website, is it a clear indication? Will they be able to tell what our club really stands for? Is there a mission statement that you offer on your website or a positioning statement? So you really have to make sure that you have all of this in mind, even if it's just a little text box that says, hey, this is what we stand for. But that's what reaffirms the credibility. That's what tells people what your club is all about. And it's really all about the colors and the usage at the end of the day as well. If I were to land on your website and I see nothing else but Rotary colors, is it clear to me that this is a Rotary club? Of course it is. So one of the things that I'm not sure how many people are aware of also is that RI has released a visual guidelines booklet, which you can download and get feedback about all the different branding tips and tricks that clubs can use for your own website. And we've actually worked with RI to release some Club Runner from some RI branded themes, some Rotary branded themes that we offer. They have all the color options for Rotary that you can just select and just go with, and then there's nothing else you have to do. That really helps in your branding. So from here, what I'll do is I'll pass the mic over to Mickey, and he'll jump into a live tour of the website designer, and we'll look into how some of those features can really amplify the aesthetics of your website. So take it away, Mickey.
Thank you, Divya. All right, so what I'm going to do is, if you don't mind, Divya, I'm going to just borrow the screen from you. So here, let me just, so what I've done, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to make sure, great. So what you see here, this is CRX2020. This is a demo website that our team has put together. And we're going to try and put some of what, all of the excellent points that Divya mentioned, we're going to try and put it into action for real. And we're going to examine this website. Just a little caveat, we're not going to, one thing we've been getting some feedback. I'll do my best to talk a little slower because I get really excited and I tend to talk a little fast. So I will do my best to slow things down for all of our attendees. What I will also try to do is to cover everything. We're not going to do deep tutorials, but we are going to explore the features. So I'm going to consciously try to talk a little slower. I'll already see myself speeding up a little bit. This is our homepage. One of the, we're going to take a top-down approach. By that, I mean, we're going to start right at the top with the address bar. Divya mentioned security very quickly. This little lock icon, if you click on it, okay, it says the connection is secure. It's very likely that you know, your website, most of our Club Runner websites already have this. I just want you to see how this is put into action. So I just want to show you where the lock icon is, and I will click it again, and we'll start moving down the page. You can see we have a banner. This is our top menus. And now I'm going to slowly scroll down the page, and you're going to see, first off, actually I want to talk about this because this is an excellent point that Divya brought up. You might be thinking to yourselves, okay, here's the site, and I'll scroll down a little bit. Here's white space on the left and right. You know what? I'd like to maybe fill the content and put it, you know, on the, like there's all this white space on the left and right side. What can we do with that? So the white space is intentional. What I mean by intentional is we're looking at the website on we have a desktop computer here, so you're looking at it off my desktop computer. I've got a nice big monitor in front of me. Now I'm going to go like this. So remember, all Club Runner websites are mobile compatible. What that means is you'll notice we resize the website as you change the width of the homepage. So for example, you might be looking at it full width and you have a little bit of white space. Someone else might be looking at it like this on their phone. And you'll notice the top menu goes away because it's now replaced by this. If you click on this, all your top menu items are there. This is all by design. This is all. This is what mobile compatibility means: the ability to adapt to a user's screen. So don't think that you know, the left and right white space is there by accident. Most of our design decisions made by our design team is completely intentional. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. You can see there's. I'll go right to the bottom. There's nothing wrong with this site. There's nothing, you know, functionally incorrect or anything like that. It's a little basic. So let's see if we can work on that. Okay. So I'm going to log right out. I've already logged in. I'm going to go right to the member area. We're going to take a look at the website live designer. Now, I want to do two things. And I'm going to try, like I said, I myself am going to try to slow it down because I tend to go a little fast sometimes. I want to talk about the new administration page. I know we touched on this in the previous session. How to navigate to the new website live designer using this admin page. And then we're also going to use the top menus, these top blue menus right here, My Club Runner Communication. So this is the new admin page. I'm going to go access the website designer. I'm going to scroll down, okay? And I'm going to go to website designer, and I can click here on homepage designer. Now, if I click this red button, actually I'll show you. If I click on it, it'll take me to the homepage designer. I'm actually going to go back, and I'm going to take you an alternate route. It's the same destination. It's just an alternate route. This is my kind of favorite way to navigate Club Runner. You might be a little different, but I like using these top menus just because everything's here in front of me. I'm going to click on New Website Beta. I'm going to touch on this only for 1 second. You might see here, wait a second, why didn't you click on Website? I want to edit my website. This is our older website designer. The only thing I'm going to say about that is that we're eventually going to retire our old website designer. This is our older website designer. We are eventually going to retire that. The new website beta right here, and very shortly will no longer be beta. Beta does not mean that it doesn't work or anything like that. It just means that we're accepting all user feedback. It's fully functional. For this entire session, I'm going to click here on new website beta. And then I'm going to click here on homepage designer, okay? And it's going to take me, you'll notice it takes me right back to here. What I want to do is, and like I said, I know it's been covered a little bit in the previous session, but I want to make sure this gets covered again because it's worth talking about. This is our new website designer. For those of you who have not used the new website designer, let's go over some basic functionality. And once again, we're going to need the top-down approach. First of all, we tell you what you're designing. Right now, you're designing the home page. This new website designer, you can also use it to design new custom pages. So what I mean by that is you can take an existing custom page that you designed the old way, or you can create a brand new custom page. We're going to be getting to that. But right now, we're not designing a secondary or custom page. We're designing the home page. That's what this means. This is really great. I touched on it before. You know, we have a nice big desktop screen that we're looking at here. What does a phone user see? If you click these buttons, you'll get a preview of, for example, I'll click here. You can simulate what your website looks like on a tablet. Okay, and it's really handy because you know, you click a button and you can actually get a sense of here. I'll click on mobile phone, okay, and see that it automatically shrinks down. This is generally what the website is going to look like on a mobile phone. Okay, so I'm going to click go back. All right, it'll take me back here. So now what I want to talk about is, sorry, I'm going to need to look at my notes here. All right. The first thing I want to talk about is pre-formatted widgets, okay? So this, now before I get to pre-formatted widgets, which is right here, okay, I do want to kind of cover just a very quickly, let's scroll down the page a little bit more. On the, broadly speaking, on the left side is your home page. And you get a live preview of it, meaning if you make a change, so you know, if I actually wanted to, you know, type the number 1 here, and I'm going to get rid of that, I can see all the changes as I'm typing as it relates to the home page. So that's what this left side is. Broadly speaking, it's the live preview of your home page. On the right side are all the sections of widgets, and this is what I want to cover next. Pre-formatted widgets, essentials. If I click on a gray category, it reveals and hides the category. It's kind of called like an accordion view, like you can expand and shrink all the different categories. Okay, I want to talk briefly about pre-formatted widgets. Okay, what is a pre-formatted widget? So you're going to want to put content on your homepage, obviously, that's why you're here. And maybe you want, some of you might be familiar with HTML tables, or maybe you want a certain layout and all this other stuff. So instead of using HTML tables, which by the way, HTML tables, since we're talking about best practices, they're not that mobile compatible. Not to say that they're 100% not, but we're slowly moving away from HTML tables into a different kind of grid view. I'm going to talk about that. So for example, I want, you know what? I want 3 images side by side. So I'm just going to scroll down. Okay. And I see right here, triple image above text. What all these pre-formatted widgets are, like including triple image above text, is a way for you to essentially fill in the blanks. The layout is done for you. Let's take triple image above text. I'm going to drag it. I'll just drag it here for now. Okay. And what it is it's 3 images side by side. Let's say the middle image, I don't like this gray box, of course, so I'm going to click on it. Okay. And it's going to bring up my image library. Okay. I'll just center this. And I'm going to click on my images, and I'll just explore my images. Like I said, I don't want to, while time is of the essence, I don't want to go too fast. So let's just, here. Oh, actually, this is, here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this image, okay? So I've got this image kind of selected. I clicked on it once. I'm going to double click. It's going to pop right in, okay? And you can see it's not perfect. It's not, you know, I might need to do some resizing or whatever. But here's the thing. I spent about 3 seconds dragging something in, going into the image library, selecting an image. This is the whole design scheme behind the new website beta. You don't want to spend all day on this stuff. I understand a lot of Rotarians, they have a lot of things to do. So the whole point of using this is that you can do this quickly. So that's, in a nutshell, that's how pre-formatted widgets works. Now, of course, I can add some text here, you know, hour, Zoom, session, whatever you'd like to type. I can even center it. I can make it bold, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time going in depth because we have some video tutorials, but I definitely want to make sure that we cover some ground here so that you all know that first of all, that this exists, and second of all, how to use it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, you know what, this is good, but you know what, I'm not really, I don't mind the 3 images, but I don't like the layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over this widget. I'm going to click the X, and that's going to get rid of our pre-formatted widget. You know what, I'm kind of curious as to, where did it go? I'm sorry, it's right here. What is this call to action widget? I'm going to take this, I'm going to drag it in because that sounds kind of interesting. I'm going to put it in here. Hey, that's actually not too bad. What this is now, remember, I didn't type anything. I dragged a widget in. And as you drag all these widgets into the design view on the left side, they format themselves. So I can actually say, you know, click something below, or, you know, and then I can edit each and every button, you know, go to Google, for example, right? And it's going to go to Google, and I want to open it whenever you're going to an external website. What I mean by external, it's not related to your club or district homepage. It's something that's outside, like let's say you have a link to Rotary International or whatever. open the link in a new window if it's an external website, okay? So I want the first button to go to Google. We'll just keep it simple. I do want to talk briefly or touch upon what is a primary or secondary button. So actually, you know what? Let me put a pin in that. I'm looking at my notes and we need to come back to that. Sorry about that. I just touched my microphone there. I'm going to click on Save, okay? And you can see it's changed right away. This is, like I said, the power of the Live Designer is that you make a change, it's instantly goes into preview mode. This is not live, okay? I've got this click something below here. Now, Zach mentioned in his earlier webinar, I'm gonna click here on View Live page right here, and it's gonna pop open my website. This is live. This is the live website. This is viewable by, and you can view it right now if you like, actually, if you bring it up in a browser. Where is my call to action? I'm gonna go back here to this tab because I now have two tabs. This is my design view and this is my live website view, okay? I'm gonna click on my design view. Why isn't this showing up? Remember that handy orange publish button. We haven't done anything yet. This actually is deceptively great. A lot of people are like, oh man, you mean I have to click an extra button? That's kind of a pain. This is great. The reason I say it's deceptively great, you can design in the background. You can completely redesign your homepage. You can do all kinds of changes. The public website visitors will never see it until you click publish. So you can actually make changes to your homepage in the background. Let's say it takes you a few hours or whatever, and then you click publish, and then the public website visitors will see it. So that's kind of another little tip. A lot of people, they're redesigning their homepage, and they're like, I don't want people to see me, you know, halfway through the work. You can actually work on your homepage without publishing, you know, a lot of the changes will not go live until you're ready to click publish, okay? So I'm gonna, here, I'm just gonna X this out. I'm gonna remove this. I wanna talk about something that's actually brand new and something that once again Zach touched on, but it's worth going over again, which is our new dynamic carousels. I'm going to go back to our live homepage, okay, and here it is. And I'm just scrolling up and down, okay? Like I said, there's nothing wrong with this website, but I wonder if we can make it look a little nicer. So I'm going to go click here. And I'm gonna shrink the pre-formatted widgets view. I'm gonna click this tiny little triangle to shrink, and I can expand it and shrink it. I'm gonna go to carousels right here, and I'm gonna click the triangle again. And I've got all these carousels. We save all your carousels, right? The dynamic carousels. We've actually pre-made some. I'm not gonna look at the pre-made ones. We're gonna create one from scratch, okay? So I'm gonna take the dynamic carousel. There's a little plus sign. Now, you might be thinking, wait a second, how do you know which one to drag in? There's what, 7 of them, right? I'm looking to create a new something, in this case, a dynamic carousel. So when I want to create a new instance of something, I'm looking here at the plus sign. When I take a widget with a plus sign, I'm going to do this right now, I'm going to create a new instance of it. Now, let me just show you in comparison. Dynamic carousel number 5 is beside it. I'm going to drag this in, okay? And now this is kind of pre-built. In other words, if I go edit it, there's actual, you know, images and all that in here. So, you know, if I go, you know, show and all this stuff. And by the way, I'm doing this very briefly because I don't want to talk about something that's pre-built. So I'm not going to do a pre-built one. I'm going to click X to X this out. Okay, and I'm going to take the dynamic carousel. And I'm going to, with the plus sign, and I'm going to bring it in, and we're going to start a brand new carousel. And like I said, I know we covered this, but it is worth noting that, again, and this is important stuff, and hopefully it's really great stuff that you'll, you know, really enjoy using. So I'm only going to put in 1 or 2 slides. When I say slide, I essentially mean image. How many slides does your dynamic carousel have? How many images, right? Your first image, then it moves to your next image and so forth. You can have a carousel. You could technically have 50 slides or 50 images. We recommend about 10 or less. I'm going to do 2 or 3 today, just so we have it, okay? So first thing I want to look at right here is the carousel properties. I'm just going to click the blue edit button, okay? Like I said, you can actually put in a little description. I'm going to hit cancel because, like I said, we're not going too in depth today. I just want you to know what all this is, that this exists, and how to get at it, which is really important today. Okay. The next thing we're going to briefly look at widget properties. I'm going to click edit. Okay. There's a ton of properties. I won't go into everything. a couple things. You can show and hide the title. So this dynamic carousel, you know what? I'm going to call this homepage carousel because that's my title right here. Okay. And by the way, let's see if I can spell carousel correctly. There you go. And by the way, I can make it bold and I can center it and all that. I'm going to leave it as is. Like I said, we're not going to get too fancy. Now I can show and hide the title. I'm going to show the title just so you can see that later on, we probably don't want to show this title. So I'm going to show it, and then later on, I'm probably going to hide it. Okay. Now I'm going to scroll down to the animation settings. I just want you to know that they're animation settings. There's a lot of customization that is present in the dynamic carousel. You can change. You can turn the slide indicators on and off. You can show slide titles. We're going to get to slide titles in a second. This one is. I just want to spend a second on this. What does this mean? Match photo sizes. We get a lot of questions. In fact, I saw some in the chat from this morning. What's the proper size for the carousel? Okay, so I want to touch on that. You're going to bring in images. They're going to be from a phone. They're going to be from a professional person's camera. They're going to be from, I don't know, your nephew. You're going to have all these images, and they may not always match. So what we try to do is, if you check this box, we do our best to match every photo size. It's not perfect. Because some are tall and some are wide and so on and so forth. But I want to, when we're mentioning photo carousel size, and like I said, I'll try to be brief here. There's two considerations. First of all, tall. Are all your photos tall or all your photos wide? Okay, so either portrait or landscape. If you have a mixture in your carousel, it's a little trickier to match everything. So let's say you have 3 tall photos and 2 wide photos and whatever, it makes things a little difficult to match those photos. If it's possible, in fact, I would highly recommend, if you're doing one instance of an image carousel, it has 2 slides, 5 slides, whatever, try to do it. All of the images are wide or all of the images are tall. Try not to mix the two together. Okay, now what we're looking for, I think a lot of people are looking for pixel dimensions and all that. I will mention that if you want, I'll do this really quickly. If you want an image to cover the entire width of a high definition average computer screen, like the one I'm looking at right now, it's about 2,000 pixels. If you want the exact number, it's 1,920. I mumbled the 1920, but it's about 2,000 pixels wide, and we recommend about 400 to 500 pixels tall. That's it. I'm going to stop it there because, like I said, I don't want to get too technical with this stuff, but that is a recommended size. 2,000 wide by 400 or 500 tall. Okay, so once again, there's all these options which I'm not even going to look at because, like I said, I'm watching the clock and I don't want to go too far over. So I'm just going to click save. Okay, and so we got our dynamic carousel. Now this is where the action happens. We're going to add some photos. Okay, so you can upload multiple slides or you can upload one slide at a time. Just for today, we're just going to do one slide at a time. So I clicked on upload slide. It brings me to the images. Now, this is something a lot of people are asking about. When I want to load carousel photos from my image library. So if I click here, I'm going to load from the image library. Now, being who we are, we had some photos preloaded. So I'm in my image library. I clicked. Now, you may or may not have this folder. In fact, your folder structure may be a little bit different. I'm going to click. I clicked on carousels and I clicked dynamic carousel. You on your website, you may only see my images. In other words, you may only see 3 photos, or maybe you'll see 1,000 photos or whatever. But what you want to do is, if you click here on upload, you can upload your own photos right here. I'm just kind of moving my mouse around so you can see it. It's a little tiny green plus sign. If I click upload, it actually accesses my computer and I can upload a photo from my computer. Now I've preloaded some photos, like I said, for the sake of time. So I'm going to click here on dynamic carousel. And then this photo is looking kind of nice. I sure would like to make it look bigger. Like I'm sure you see it too. It's kind of tiny. So what I'm going to do is, let me take a look at this photo. I'm going to not left click. I'm going to right click on my Windows PC. And then I'm going to click on view right here. And it gives me a nice bigger view. So, oh yeah, it's the picture of the 2 ladies. I love that photo. You know what? I want this photo. So I'm just going to click here on the X. and then I'm going to right now, you can double click on the photo like I did last time. I'm going to show you an alternate way. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click, and then I'm going to left click on select. And there's my first photo, okay? And I'm just gonna call this photo 1. Like I said, I wanna give it a title so you can see that the titles are shown. And then, photo 1 description, okay? I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, and I'm gonna scroll down, okay? So I'm gonna show the slide description on the carousel. You know what, since we're doing this, I'm gonna make this bold. I'm gonna make the text bold, and I wanna make the text, let's make it red. Okay, oh, I made the background red, sorry about that. Okay, and let's make, okay, so that's bold and red. Just as an example, you can of course make it look much nicer than that. So you can also have a link in your carousel, and we're gonna do that. So you know what, we keep talking about Google, let's just keep going with Google, okay? So I wanna link to Google. Now, you don't have to link to external sites. If you click here on link type, you can link inside your website. So you've got custom page, document, all this stuff. So what I want to do is I'm going to link internally. Actually, you know what? That's okay. I'm just going to link to Google. Okay. Here, just put in HTTP. Okay. And by the way, I am watching the clock. I'm going to need to move on, but I really hope that this has kind of piqued your interest and that you're willing to explore the custom carousel. I want to talk about button primary and secondary in a second, so we'll get to that. And once again, remember, Google is external to our website. Normally, I wouldn't click open link a new window, but Google is external, so I'm going to open in a new window. I'm going to click save. Okay, there's our first slide. I'm going to speed this up. For the sake of time, I do apologize. I'm gonna, just so you can see what I'm doing, I'm gonna load from the image library. I'm gonna view, right? I like this image, the person administering polio drops. I'm gonna select, okay. And then I'm gonna call this, oh, sorry, let me make sure I'm gonna double click, make sure it's there. Okay, polio drops. Okay, I'm gonna skip the title. I'm sorry, I'm gonna skip the description for this one. I'm gonna save. Okay, I'm gonna stop because, oh, I did it twice. So my mistake. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna delete one of these slides. You know what, and just so you can see, I can reorder the slides too. Look for those 3 dots. I'm clicking and dragging with my mouse. I can reorder my slides at will. Okay, so here, I'll just go like this. Okay, all right, so let me go back and there's my custom carousel. Now, you can see here that my text doesn't look so good. If you can see photo 1 DESC right here, okay, and then the link to Google. That's fine. Like I said, this is yours to customize. If you don't like the way something looks, you just go in and keep, experimenting until you find something you like. I'm going to actually publish this so we can see this. Okay, so I'm going to publish this, and I'm going to go back to our homepage. Now it hasn't changed. Remember, this is very important, and a lot of people forget this. It's like, hey, where's my carousel? What's going on? You know, I've been at. Make sure to click the refresh button. I know that's a basic tip, but I just want to make sure you hit refresh, otherwise you won't see it. Okay, it says homepage carousel. I don't like that. I kind of told you as a preview I wouldn't like it. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to hover over. I'm going to click the, let me do that. I did that a little too quick. I'm going to hover over. I'm going to click the little gear icon right here. And I'm going to go down to where it says show title right here. And I'm going to uncheck the title, hit save. I'm going to republish. Okay. So remember, I made the change, but it hasn't changed on the home page until you click publish and then refresh, and there's my title's gone. Okay. Now let me now for those of you who are like, that was good, I want more, can we go more in depth? Of course we can't now because I can see the timer. I'm watching the clock. Please do go to clubrunnersupport.com. Okay, I'm actually just going to type that in for you right now. I'm going to do this live. Clubrunnersupport.com is the URL. Okay, and you will find all new tutorials, PDFs, videos, articles about the website Live Designer. Here's a wonderful one actually by Zach. I'm going to click on this because I've actually I've sent this link to a lot of people. It's a much more in-depth tutorial about the website designer. So how did I get there? I'm going to go back to clubrunnersupport.com. I'm going to type in website video. okay? And you know what? I didn't quite find what I wanted, so I'll refine my search. Like I said, and you know what? I know it's with Zach, so it's this one. Please do explore clubrunnersupport.com. Just very quickly, since we're on this site, okay? Because we're going to go back to the website designer in a second. But since we're here, how can we help you? This is one way to search, which is you just type in, hey, I'm a club secretary. How do I find out about attendance? Type in the word attendance. Hey, I'm a club secretary. I really want to watch a video. I wonder if you have an attendance video. Let me type attendance video, and there's our attendance video. So that's one way to search. If you scroll down, we've also organized and categorized everything. Are you a club member, just a regular member? Are you a club admin? Are you talking about the website? Do you want to find out about the, are you a district, maybe club executive or district administrator? So in other words, as you scroll down the site, and by the way, the very bottom is videos. So you can actually click on on-demand videos and see all of our recorded webinars and all of our club videos, okay? So please do explore clubrunnersupport.com if you haven't already. I'm gonna go back to the homepage and all right, so I wanna talk briefly about you know what? I'm gonna skip one thing, and we were talking about the website looking nicer. So I'm gonna go back here, and very quickly I'll just scroll down. And you know what? This is starting to take shape. I like this carousel. You may or may not prefer it. You can of course customize it to your taste. But I'll scroll down. Here's I've got 3 stories here. India celebrates and so forth. It's okay. Actually, four stories. I wonder if I can make the stories look a little nicer. So I'm going to go here, okay, and I'm going to scroll down, okay, and let's just take a look at our stories. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with the stories. There's nothing incorrect. I'm going to click on this gear icon. We're going to see if we can make it look a little nicer. Actually, this is worth repeating. I'm going to close this for a second. Most widgets have, I'm going to hover over a widget, right? It does whatever widget you hover over. Most widgets have what's called a gear icon. This is the properties. Make sure to explore, make sure to click on this tiny little gear icon, look for the word properties, and then see what properties it has. Every widget is a little bit different. They don't all have the same properties. So for example, let's take this, let me just cancel that. I'll hover over stories, click the gear icon. So now I know I'm looking. I renamed it the club news widget, but it's the stories widget. I'm going to scroll down. Let's look and see what properties we have. Now I'm going to skip ahead. Like I said, I don't want to run out of time here. I'm going to skip ahead to layout. That sounds kind of interesting, I say pointedly. I wonder what layout does. Most stories widget, they come in as regular layout. I'm going to click on regular. And I've got these 2 other options, column and scrollable, or columns and scrollable. That sounds interesting. So I'm going to click here on columns, and I'm going to click save. Now remember, I'm not really, I'm clicking a few buttons here. The whole point of this is to go in and redesign your website without taking it 2 or 3 days. You want to go in and please do experiment, okay? You know what? This isn't so bad. I mean, I need to fix the text here. It's not perfect. Like I said, first try is not always a charm. You might need to do a little bit of experimentation. So, okay, I understand this columns. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go back down. And okay, columns is one thing. What is scrollable? I'm curious about that. I'm going to click save, okay, and give it a second. Now this is kind of interesting. What's happening is it's now remember there are 4 stories. It's turned them into story blocks, and it's almost like a little carousel of stories. Remember, I have not touched the keyboard yet. I hovered over the properties, clicked here, went all the way down, and I chose scrollable. Okay, and what that does is now it'll display 3 blocks of stories at a time, right? And actually I want to publish this so you can see, and I want to check my schedule too. I want to make sure I don't run out of too much time. I'm going to click here. Okay, remember this still looks like regular stories until you click refresh right here. Okay, so this is kind of interesting, and this is on purpose. You can see that these are by design put on top of each other. My stories now looks like this, and I like the way this looks. There's 3 little images. My stories look like that too. And by the way, I have yet to touch the keyboard. I've been doing everything for maybe a couple minutes. Maybe you're logged in, you're a website administrator, and you want ways to make your website look a little better. Don't be afraid to check the properties of any widget and check out some of the advanced properties. Now, I I kind of guided you to scrollable and all that because, you know, for the sake of time, but, you know, check out some of the other properties as well. Now these are missing some images. These are the thumbnails. Like I said, the first time is not always a charm. You're not just going to click a button and magically everything will be fantastic. You might need to go back to your story and add a thumbnail image. That's what these blank gray squares are. You're like, hey, I have a photo in the story, but you don't have a thumbnail for the. There's a story image, and then there's something called a thumbnail, which we're not going to get into because I'm looking at the clock and I don't want to run out of time before I get to some other things. But make sure, and I can feel myself speeding up. So let me try to slow down my speech. Make sure that you know, you go back to your stories and you can insert some thumbnail images. These block of stories will look nicer with a bit more experimentation. So as you can see, I've just been clicking around and exploring, and already my website, it's not there, it's not 100% there, but it is getting there, and that's the whole purpose of this, is so you can explore. I want to talk a little bit about global versus page-specific widgets. That's a bit of a mouthful. Let me repeat that. So you're going to have all these different types of widgets. There's pre-formatted, which we touched on, essentials, and all these other. We touched on carousels, but we didn't talk about the rest. Now, what if you're like, that's fine, and you know those are all the types of widgets I have, but I want to go crazy. I want to customize my own. I want full control. You know what? I'm a coder. I can do some basic HTML, or you know what? There's something called custom widgets. Think of a custom widget as an empty box. So just imagine a square rectangle, and it's literally just white, and it's sitting there for you to add anything you want. Think of it as the opposite of a pre-formatted widget. A pre-formatted widget right here, it has the layout, and it's looking for your content. A custom widget, whether it be global or page specific, it has no layout and it's still looking for your content. So the opposite metaphor didn't quite work, but we're gonna talk about custom widgets, and we're gonna talk about global and page specific. Very quickly, a custom widget global, which is right here, can be reused elsewhere. So for example, let's say some clubs, what they do is they make a customized meeting information widget. They want to be really fancy with their meeting information, have you know, all kinds of images and stuff like that. So they create their own custom widget, and we're gonna create a custom widget very quickly. So global means you can reuse it. Page specific means it's specific only to this page, and right now we're on the home page. If I were to create, I'm going to click here. If I were to create a page specific custom widget, it would only live on this page. I can drag in my custom widget again, only on the home page, but I can't go to, say, a different custom page, which we're also going to get to today. I'm watching the clock. So but what I want to do right now is I want to use a custom widget global. I'm going to actually hide page specific. Why? Because I'm not sure, maybe the widget I create, I might want to use it elsewhere on the website and not necessarily just on the home page. So I'm going to use a global custom widget. I'm going to drag it in, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. It looks literally like an empty box. Okay. So here it is, custom widget, type your content. This actually looks way more boring than the pre-formatted widgets, but that's good because there's two broad ways to edit a custom widget. You can absolutely click this little pencil icon, just like you can for all the other widgets, and you can edit this inline, or in other words, I'm typing in the designer review. Okay, okay. And that's fine. Now that's one way to edit a custom widget. That doesn't necessarily unlock all its power. There's an alternate way to edit a custom widget, whether it be global or page specific. You hover over it, and instead of clicking the pencil, what does this do? That we've got a little square with an arrow. So I'm going to click. What is the difference? Aren't they? They're both edit buttons. Let me show you what the square with an arrow. It's the advanced view. Now I haven't saved anything, so it's like, hey, you want to edit the draft version of the live? I'm just going to click edit draft version, and we're going to go here. Okay, so you'll see all of the other website has disappeared. I'm now focusing just on the custom widget. So if I click on edit custom widget, first of all, I don't want to call it custom widget. I'm going to call this meeting information. Okay. And then I'm going to get rid of this, and you know, we meet, oops, caps lock. We meet Thursdays at, I don't know, 9 a.m. whatever, whenever you meet, actually probably before work. So 7 a.m., you know, at such and such. Okay. And then I'm gonna, you know, just gonna add in a picture. I'm going to do this really quickly. So I'll go here. You know what? Mr. Robot he'll have to suffice for now just because okay. So, and you can see, we talked a little bit about the image library, but of course this is, you know what, let me actually put in something a little bit more appropriate. So here I'll go browse server. I believe there is a calendar icon. Fantastic. So I'm going to bring in this little calendar icon and I'll just make it 50. So I'll make it really small. Now you'll notice this is literally a white empty box. It's very similar, not exactly the same, but very similar to MS Word. You'll be able to do anything you want. So for example, I want to right justify this text. I want to, you know, you can add a table if you really wish, but one thing that is, and actually since we're here, I want to talk about one really cool thing that you can do here. But I want to talk about this tiny little icon because not a lot of people see it. You can see that as I type, I start to run out of space, right? Run out of space. So, and I have to scroll up and down. If you click this little four-way arrow right here, I'm going to click on it. It's going to expand my view. Now the save and all that go away. Don't worry, it's not gone. It's just it's hidden. So you have the full screen now to do your design work. Okay. So that's really handy. It's a tiny little icon that a lot of people miss. It is super handy because I use it all the time. You know, when we're doing custom work, I click on this. I'm going to click on it again, and it'll shrink it back down. Okay. And while we're here, because I need to start combining some points here. While we're here, one of the really cool things you can do inside custom widgets, and like I said, it can be on your home page, it can be on another custom page, is you can add a video. And while we're here, I'm going to add a video, okay? Now, there are, hold on, give me 1 second, because I know, sorry to explore here. There it is, okay. So we have a new button. Now we have some ways to embed video and embed media. Like I said, I'm gonna try to be very specific today, because like I said, I'm watching the clock. There's a tiny little icon right here, and this was discussed earlier. It's actually says, I don't know if you can read that, insert media embed. I'm gonna click on it, and it says, give me a URL, okay? So I'm gonna hit cancel. I'm gonna open a new browser tab by clicking this plus sign. I'm gonna go to YouTube, okay? Let's go to YouTube Club Runner, okay? And let's see, I think, let's see what our, right there, right? So let's let's do a Korea recap, but you know, this is our recap from our 2016 trip to Korea, which by the way was amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the URL. Okay, now let's see. I'm going to click on this insert media. Now I did that really fast. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm going to try to slow down again. I went to YouTube and I loaded a video. Here's the video I loaded, right? And I can play it and I can watch it. Well, that's fine. But what about my website visitors? They're not going to go to YouTube. I want to embed this video. So what I'm doing is I'm copying the URL. I'm just clicking here in the browser address bar. I'm going to, now I hit to copy. You can do Control-C, or you can right click and you can go to copy, which I'll do it this way. That way it's more visual. And then I'm going to go back here to my, where I'm designing, and I'm going to go here into insert media embed. And you can Control-V for victory is a paste, or right click and paste, okay? And I'm going to click OK. And you can see what's really cool about this is you can actually get a preview of the YouTube video. Now remember the keys here. This is not about hours of work. This is about making it appear that you spent hours of work. Boy, that was really hard to go find the video and embed it. It's actually 2 or 3 mouse clicks. And by the way, I'm going to click here and you can see the YouTube video better. Okay, now I'm going to click Save and Publish. You're probably thinking, hey, wait a second, that thing's huge. Remember, this thing scales. So I'm going to click Save and Publish also too. I want to make sure we cover some custom pages next. But there's my video, okay? And it plays right live on the website, okay? So I'm going to publish it. Click here on Publish. and we're going to go take a look. All right, I'm going to reload the page. And so we did a couple things. We created this custom widget here, which we already know we can put a whole a bunch of things in. We also added a video in 5 seconds or less, because once you get the hang of it, I promise you, it will be pretty quick, right? Video is not as intimidating as you think. The beautiful part of embedding a video, this is the YouTube video, which is embedded here on the homepage. I can play it live. So there's music, sorry. But people can stay on your site while they watch external videos. Once again, I'm not gonna go, there's actually, you're probably thinking, okay, that's kind of cool. I wanna learn more about that. Go back to clubrunnersupport.com. And what did you say? Embed video? I can do that, and I'm gonna click search. And oops, sorry, I clicked on the wrong button here. All right, you can find all the search results, right? In fact, I want to embed a YouTube video. I wonder if you have an article about that. Hey, you do. That's pretty cool. So you can actually follow along. Okay. So let me go back to the design view because I want to make sure. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. All right, so let's go to custom pages very quickly and very briefly, or as briefly as I can, without talking too fast. So let me go back because that's what I tend to do. Okay, I'm going to click on New Website Beta again, okay, in the top blue tabs. And then instead of clicking Homepage Designer, which will take me to the, in fact, I'll do it right now. It takes me to the Website Designer. I'm going to click the back button. I want to go back. I'm going to click New Website Beta. Instead of clicking Homepage Designer, I want to click on Custom Page Library. Okay, so I want to talk about this. Okay, this is, if you haven't seen this, this is really key as well. So you're creating content. Your website is not just a home page. Your home page is the main page. This is our home page right here, and you know, now we've got a video and all this other stuff, and then you know it's rough, but it's starting to take shape. But then we've got all these other pages like join leaders. We've got you know, become a member. These are called secondary or custom pages. I'm going to go back here because we use that term here, custom pages. Think of it as anything that's not your home page. So any kind of secondary page where you're going to have, how do you join to become a member? Here's, you know, a photo gallery of all of our big event from last month or what have you. Okay, so you can do a lot with custom pages. Think of a custom page the same way as thinking about a custom widget. Remember, a custom widget was like an empty square, an empty box. A custom page is an empty white page. It's an entire, like having a piece of paper in front of you that's brand new and fresh, and you can do anything you want to it. So custom pages are very handy. I took you this way on purpose because one of the things I want to talk about, and I want to make sure we get to it because we're going to need to do some Q&A very shortly. With custom pages, not only can you design brand new pages, you can save your work as templates. So let's talk about that. So here's my existing. I'm here on entire library. I went to New Website Beta. I clicked on Custom Page Library. I'm here on Custom Pages, and I clicked on Entire Library. I'm just going to scroll down. This is all the custom pages that is on my website. I actually don't have that many. It's about 12 or something like that. Now I can create more because if I want to create a new page, I'm going to click here on Create New Page. I've got some options when I create a new page, which is, hey, what is this? Are these existing pages? No, these are pre-built Club Runner templates. So what do I mean by that? If you've used the new Bulletin Beta, you're sort of familiar with this. In fact, you're very familiar with this. New Bulletin Beta has the same style. We've got pre-built templates all ready for you to use. For example, this looks kind of promising. I'm going to hover over any of these, and I'm going to click here on the preview button, and it gives me a quick little preview of what this custom page will look like if I were to go edit it. Hey, look, it's got a banner, it's got all this text. Remember, this is all stock stuff. You just go in, you swap out the image, you change the text. You can, so in other words, you don't have to start from zero. I'm going to click the X button. Okay. However, if you're one of those who are like, yeah, none of these templates do it for me, I want to do it myself. If you scroll down to the bottom, we have a blank template. Okay, so I'm actually going to use that now. Of course, you can choose one of these pre-built templates. They're really nice, you know, and hopefully one of these will pertain to what you need. Maybe you need you know, a 3-image gallery. Maybe you need a call to action, you know, what have you. But let's just start talking about a blank template. If I click here, I'm going to preview it, and it's easily the most boring of all of them because it's like, hey, where's all the content? It's nothing. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click next. And now I have a white piece of paper. Sort of use a prop here. I've got this. I got a white piece of paper now, okay? And here you go. This is empty. For some people, it's very intimidating because it's like, oh, I don't know where the images go or whatever. For some people, this is exactly what they want. I want to start with a white piece of paper. I want to, for example, grab my essentials. I'm going to do this really quickly. I'm going to, where's my story? Actually, you know what? I'm going to list my executives and directors. I'm just going to grab stuff at random here. Remember, no typing involved here. Oh, and here's my homepage stories. I definitely want to include my stories, right? And remember that little trick. I'm going to click here on the properties. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click on, oops, sorry. Here we go. Oh, I grabbed the news widget by accident. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Let me just grab the stories widget right here. It's called homepage stories. And I'm going to click the little, actually it already remembered that I like that little carousel gallery view. Remember, click on properties and you can go change it. And the last thing I'm going to do, oh boy, I'm not even sure. You know what? Upcoming events. Let's see if we have some upcoming events because that's kind of important. Now there you go. I picked some random stuff completely at random because I'm looking at the clock and I see that now one thing I want to talk about very quickly is, you know what? This is fine. Now I actually have like there's a ton of ways to improve upon this page. I'm going to talk about layouts. So if I click on layouts, what I can do with the layouts is I can actually change the columns and not the appearance, but the way that my information is organized. So for example, I'm going to click on this. Okay, full width, top and above right sidebar. And what it is now I've got a column. So what I can do, for example, my club execs and directors, going to drop it in here. My upcoming events, also going to drop it just below club execs and directors. This is an example. Maybe you like upcoming events better, so I'm going to drag it up here, okay? And then my club execs and directors. And within a couple seconds, I've reformatted the page. I've got my stories. I've got everything looking maybe sort of the way I want it to. But the whole point of this is that you can do this within a couple minutes, if not faster, once you get the hang of it. I'm going to click here on Design Blank Template. Now, why am I clicking? This is one of the last things I'm going to do because I want to click here. I want to call this my page template. Let's just say, and I know the page isn't looking that pretty, but let's just say you really like this page and I want to use it as my page template. I'm going to name this page my page template. I'm going to click here in this little permalink box and it's going to say, do you want to match my title to the permalink? I'm just going to click OK. I'm not going to read that whole thing. So essentially that matches the title and the permalink together. The permalink is how our database finds your page. I'm going to click Save right here. And look at this. So this now says blank template. I'm going to click Save, and now it says my page template. There's a huge reason why I called it my page template because I think it's one of the last things I'm going to have to leave you with. I'm going to click Publish. Okay. Remember, once again, you can work on this stuff on the background. If you don't click Publish, people won't see your changes. I'm going to click Publish on the custom page, and just so you know you can do it. If you click here on View Live Page, you can get a little view of this page that I literally threw together in the last maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But, you know, I don't like this. I need to change this. You know, there's all this white space. But the point is that it did not spend a ton of time to get my page to look like this. I'm going to close my preview. I'm back in the designer. I'm going to click Go Back. Okay. Now I'm back here into my entire library. And that's all fine, but remember, now I spent like 3 minutes on my page template. You might spend 3 hours or what have you, right, to get a page looking exactly the way you want. If you hover over, now I'm choosing my page template. If you hover over it, there's a little arrow. If you click on the arrow, I can now save as a template. So this is actually really great because if you find a formula you like, you can fill in the gaps. In other words, let's just click on it. It says, do you want to create a new template? I'm going to click OK. All right. And what it's going to ask me to do is it's now saved it as a template. Now, This is fine, and I can actually still keep on making changes because I'm in the design view. Now I'm designing a template, and the template is called my page template. You can rename it. Remember, click the orange title, and you can name it anything else you want, like, I don't know, Mickey's template, okay? And then I'll click here and say, okay, I want to match these two, and then I'm gonna click save. Okay, and then I'm gonna click publish. So now I've got it makes it maybe even a little easier to find if I call it Mickey's template. And then I'm gonna go back. Okay, now you might be thinking, well, hey, you changed it to Mickey's template. Why didn't this change? This is the custom page. I'm gonna scroll up. I'm gonna create a new page. Remember, this is the custom page. And when I click here on create new page, there's Club Runner templates, which you're absolutely free to use. If you click here on my templates, this is my reusable template, which is really great because you're essentially making a copy of this template every time you create a page. So I can click on this. When I click next, I am not editing Mickey's template. I'm editing a copy of Mickey's template. That's an important distinction. You can always come back to Mickey's template. You can always change it. Boy, oh boy, there's here. Let me just make sure that, pardon me while there's still a few things. Divya, I know you're there. Is there anything? Actually, you know what? I do want to have a little bit of time for Q&A because I can see that there is some questions and answers. So and I definitely don't want to ramble too much. You know what? We're going to open the floor up for Q&A. Okay, so is there anything that we can take a look at?
Yeah, so I think we're going to invite Michael into the chat now. So Michael, if you want to join us and we can ask our questions.
Absolutely.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael. I'll be kind of running the Q&A session for this demonstration. So we do have quite a bit of good questions from everyone. So first off, Mickey, you had spoke about the new website Live Designer. There are some people have noticed that there is an old version. Could you explain the difference between the two of them for us?
Absolutely, sure. So very quickly, when you are traveling along the top blue tabs, you're going to see two menu items that refer to website. This is website. I'm going to click on this right now, and click on Website Designer. This is our older Website Designer. We call it Website Designer 3.0. There's nothing wrong with using this. A lot of the features we talked about today right now in the session will not be found here. This Website Designer 3.0 will be retired eventually. If you're using Website Designer 3.0 right now, explore at the very least, go to New Website Beta right here, click on this, and then right here, click the gray button that says Homepage Designer. This is the new Website Designer. It's not just a new streamlined view. There's a ton more features in the new Website Designer, and more importantly, all future features will be in the new Website Beta. It won't be in Website Designer 3.0. Thanks, Michael.
No problem. That was a very good answer. Thank you very much, Mickey. Divya, we also have another question for you. You mentioned something along the lines of things that you can do for your SEO. Meta tags were brought up into the conversation from our attendees. Could you give us a quick explanation on what those are and how they can help you?
Absolutely. Meta tags are actually, there's a settings on the page, Mickey. Maybe you can drive us to that page. There's an area on Club Runner where you can add specific keywords that you know people search for on your website. And when this will just get logged in Google, so when it's crawling, if you have any meta tags specified here, you would just add them in here, and that helps get the ranking. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's too relevant, however, in terms of does it really affect your SEO in the grand scheme of things. I wouldn't say it plays a huge factor. I would say if we do want to concentrate on ranking our website higher than it is today, I would focus more on keeping the content fresh and keeping our content there. One of the things that you could do, like Mickey showed, is embedding YouTube videos. Every time you add any factor that a person can interact with on a homepage, those are items that will definitely help your search engine rankings in the long run. So I would tend to focus there.
Thank you very much for Divya. I also noticed a couple of people bringing up things like copyrighted content or things that they don't own themselves. Typically for myself, I like to err on the side of caution. I like to reach out to the content creators themselves to make sure that it's okay that I can use them. I know that Rotary does have a brand center where they upload a lot of different content that Rotarians and Rotary clubs can use on their website as much as they would like. Do you guys have any other tips or tricks for the attendees?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely add the brand center. This is exactly where Mickey was going, so Mickey, go for it.
Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead, Divya.
There, for those of you that are not aware, Rotary has a brand center where you can download a lot of images that you can use on the website. So that's a great resource to go to. And if you're going to be using any sort of services that offer photos, royalty-free photos, a lot of these websites specifically specify whether or not you should be adding credit to the content creator. And it's always a good idea to add the credit and attribution. It's always good to give people recognition for their work. So I would never really think of it as an option. If you're going to add images that you don't own, just simply add a small disclaimer saying where you've got that photo from.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, just to expand on that, I'm going to go back here, and I'm actually just going to go to our, give me 1 second, please. I'm going to go to our image library. So there's two things I want to bring up. I'm going to click here on libraries, and I want to bring up our image library. Remember, we had my images and all this other stuff. If you go to Club Runner images locked, and I know it's a little hard. Okay, I'm going to expand the screen just for a moment, just so you can get a, this is going to be a little strange, but I just want you to see this. Okay, Club Runner images locked, Rotary images locked. First and foremost, use whatever you'd like on your Rotary website. These are completely 100% royalty free. You can use them wherever you want. Now they are stock photos, but they're stock photos for you to use anywhere, including print if you want to, as long as it's for Rotary purposes. So that's one thing. Let me shrink the page back so you can kind of get back into a normal view again. There we go. And actually, let me get a touch bigger. Now, one of the things that we actually, there's a ton of sites that we really enjoy. Very quickly, I'm going to give you my favorite, and everybody has their preference. I'm going to go to pexels.com. It's pixels spelled with an E instead of an I. If you go to pexels.com, there's actually a great website to find all kinds of images. let's say 85 to 90% of them, there's not only are they royalty free, there's no attribution required, meaning you don't actually have to attribute the photographer. Read every picture has its own copyright disclaimers. So if you find a picture of whatever, look through the website and you'll be able to search. Now, Pexels is only one example. There's a lot more examples of royalty free images.
But I would add, just to stress, just like Michael mentioned, that it's always a good idea to still receive permission from the content creator before adding a photo. Often we've seen a lot of clubs have come, they've mentioned they've received an invoice out of the blue from the content creators because they were using an image. So if you don't have permission, it's always a good idea to get that first. Sometimes attribution is just not enough.
I think it's worth it because some clubs have actually got the notices. I'm going to tell you that do not do this. Do not type in, I don't know, people in Google Images and hey, this looks great. I'm gonna use this on my website. This is the absolute 100% don't. This is very likely copyrighted. Don't just, I know it's easy to copy and paste. Don't copy and paste it onto your website. This is a very bad, this can actually get you into trouble sometimes.
All right, thank you guys very much. Those are all some very great tips. So all of you can use these tips to help grow and use content as you wish, as long as you're using the right avenues to do so. Mickey, during our presentation, we didn't spend a whole lot of time on the homepage navigation menus and buttons and things like that. Do you have any quick tips that you can give to people that would allow them to get started with that and make that a little easier?
Yeah, let's start with something that everybody can use. I'm going to go back to clubrunnersupport.com right here. Okay. My little trick, and you're looking for menu navigation. If you just type the NAV, you actually don't need the entire word. you can actually get to the article building the navigation menu. There's actually a video about it as well. And I really do apologize. It is in my talking points, but I wanted to make sure I didn't go too much over time. Building the navigation menu is right here. It goes step by step. And you can also watch a video about it. Let me cover it let me see if I can do it in 10 seconds or less. I'm gonna go click on new website beta. I'm gonna click on homepage designer right here to go get me back into our new homepage designer. Here's our navigation menu. If I hover over it, I'm just gonna click on the little square with the arrow. So this is, as it was left to right, it's the same up and down, right? So you're gonna find all your folders and all your links. I'm gonna click here on collapse all, because right now every menu is expanded. So if I wanna collapse everything, I'll click on collapse all. I can expand individual menus to add a menu button or anything, add a folder or a menu button. I'm gonna click here on add new menu item. Let's make a folder, we'll call it Mickey. I'll click save. Okay, and here, let me just collapse all. I'm almost done. And then I'm gonna click add menu item. Sorry, I'm watching the clock. Once again, Google, good old Google. Okay, I'm gonna go to custom URL. I'm gonna do this very quickly. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna open in a new window. I'm gonna click save, and I do apologize for going a little quickly here. This is being recorded, by the way, so you'll be able to watch it again. There's my little folder, there's my little link. If I go to the home page, you will not see it. Remember what you have to do, those two magic things. I'm gonna publish the menu, okay? Click go back. I'm sorry to do this a little quickly. I'm gonna click on publish again. Let's go to our home page. Let's go to the top and let's refresh, okay? There's Mickey, out of place, by the way, because I kind of, you know, made it a little bit bigger, but that once again on purpose, okay?
Mickey, since you're on the navigation menu, would you be able to quickly explain also the difference between the buttons? There's a primary button and a secondary button. We touched on that very quickly. If you could speak to that as well.
That's an excellent question, Divya. Yeah, once again, I do apologize. We just, so that's a great question, Divya. Okay, I'm gonna click collapse all again. I'm editing the navigation menu. Let's talk about Google, just because that seems to be the theme of this. So I'm gonna go here. I've expanded Mickey and there's Google. Now, right now you can see, if I go here and hover over, it's fine. It looks like all the other buttons. What if I wanna make, for whatever reason, Google prominent, just like donate is prominent here. So I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna go to Google and I'm gonna edit this button right here. And what I can do is, I can, oh, I'm sorry, hold on 1 second here. There. Sorry.
I believe you're trying to edit a sub-menu item, so it should be
right.
It's important to note only top-level menu items. So, for example, the one that would show on your navigation menu can be changed between a primary or a secondary menu.
Yeah, I blanked out there. Yeah, blanked out for that. I apologize. Sorry about that. Okay, so what we want to do is we don't want to bury Google in a menu. We're going to take Google. I'm going to go like this, the 3 dots. I'm going to drag it right below the donate button. Now Google lives on its own. It's no longer inside the Mickey folder. In fact, I'm going to delete the Mickey folder and click OK. Okay, and then now I'm going to click on edit. And I was looking for that and I completely blanked for a couple seconds there. So thank you very much, Michael and Divya. All right, so regular link is just, you know, the regular style of link. You can also have a primary or a secondary button. So if I click on primary button as an example, I'll click save. Let me show you what that change does. Okay, I'm gonna publish the menu. All right, and click OK. Go back to the home page. Now Mickey is gonna be gone and you can see that Google now looks like donate is also a primary button. So it's just a way to make your primary navigation buttons here more prominent. And very quickly, since I know we're kind of running out of time a little bit, I'm going to click on edit and I'm going to make it a secondary button, click save. And then I'm going to click here, publish menu. Okay, and you can see what a secondary button looks like. So you have 2 different styles to make the button more prominent. This is a secondary button right here. Okay.
And I just want to add, from a best practice point of view, it's a good idea to, if you want to have 2 buttons on the menu, it's a good idea to have one as a primary versus one as a secondary, because, and the way you would do that is you would just decide, well, when if I'm thinking about that user journey again, which button do I want them to click on and feast their eyes on first, opposed to which button would I want them to click on second if I wanted it. And these buttons don't just apply to the menu, is one more thing I wanted to add. You can add these buttons through the pre-formatted widgets as well, anywhere else on your website, and apply that same formatting.
Absolutely. There's a few little housekeeping things. First of all, first off, if we haven't answered your questions, we will. So keep on answering them. This is, like I said, and I'm going to repeat myself for the day and for tomorrow as well. This is so fantastic. We're getting all this interaction. Keep on chatting for the chat room. And I'm sorry. You know what? I know it's 12:30. I'd like I'd like to do something if you wouldn't mind. If it's all right. Now, now we talked about polls at the beginning. I want to kind of bring that up because I mistakenly did the wrong poll in the wrong session. I really want to confess here because first of all, because I loved that everybody's responding. Second of all, these polls are really vital and they really help us out. I accidentally did not gave you the wrong poll a little previously. I want to bring back a poll from this morning. I'm going to run this poll. Okay, now it's from 9:15 in the morning, the What's New session with Zach and Sean. You might be thinking that session's over. You're receiving this poll because of me, and I'm going to launch it right now. Okay, because I really would love your feedback. We all would, and I'm going to launch this poll because technically our session has ended, and we have a little bit of we're going to have a break very shortly. For those of you who are still here, first of all, thank you for still being here. Second of all, well, please do fill out the poll. It'll only take a minute. And thirdly, I apologize because this was all 100% my fault. I gave you the wrong poll at the wrong time, but I can see you filling it in. It fills my heart with joy that we're going to have all this data because it's just going to be fantastic. Like I said, this is all collected. This is all live. I'm going to speak only for another minute or two to give you a chance to fill out the poll while I have you. And actually, you know what? I'm going to give you 10 seconds of silence because you probably want to read this. So, and by the way, remember, there is a poll setting in your Zoom settings. So in case you're having issues, running the poll, check your individual Zoom settings. They might all be slightly different, from user to user. You should all be able to fill out a poll. If you're not, please do comment. We want to keep going with these fabulous polls. It looks like as I was rambling, I don't see any more results coming in. Oh, maybe a few. So I'll keep it up for a few more seconds. Once again, I really want to thank you all that this is so valuable to have your feedback. And once again, I apologize. This is the poll from this morning, but it was really important to run it. Okay. I don't see any. Oh, okay. Sorry, my mistake. A couple more people. Oh, while the poll is going on, because I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Michael or Divya, is there anything else you would like to go over? I know we're a little bit over time now, but are you guys okay?
I did just want to mention very quickly, I had noticed a few comments regarding mobile compatibility and the homepage menu. We are working to help kind of address that in a future update. There will be some changes made so that the compatibility for mobile devices will be improved. But I did want to note that a quick way that you can increase your mobile compatibility with your menu is to create a folder for your menu, as you can see Mickey has here on his menu. And have all of your submenus located within that folder. So that way, when you're on a mobile device, you can go ahead and you can tap on that menu item, and it will bring up the list, and you'll be able to select which item you want.
Thank you very much, Michael. And I just want to make sure, Divya, is there anything that I missed?
I think that would be it. So if have we received all the answers from the poll?
We have. In fact, I'm gonna end the polling. Thank you so much, everybody, all the attendees, and let's share those results. Okay. Not only is this live, this is recorded, so we'll go back and we'll disseminate all this information once the conference is over. I want to thank you all for attending our session. I apologize for going a bit long, but I don't apologize that much because I really this information is super important. Everything that Divya and Michael shared with you is super important. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending, and of course, thank you so much to Divya and Michael. And have a great break, and we'll see you again at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.